Hello, hello, hello. It is Dan here from the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. And I'm joined by Lucas, no Scott and no Rob, unfortunately. And we are here to talk all things Clash at the Castle, Scotland. Ironically, a place where there is a castle, but in a totally different town in Edinburgh. But this is going to be Clash at the Castle, Scotland, and we will be back with our predictions right after this message. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action. Hello, hello, hello. Once again, I am Dan, joined by Lucas, and we are here to talk Clash at the Castle, Scotland.
DBR.
We are, and we are gonna be starting off by singing "Flower of Scotland," the national anthem.
Oh God,
no, we're not.
We've got enough of Scotland this week, haven't we? With the Euros and everything.
Yeah, we will be. Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, so Drew McIntyre will hopefully go in to it a very happy Scotsman if Scotland beat Germany in the Euros. But yeah, so we are going to be talking all things Clash at the Castle, as we mentioned previously. Do you want to give the people just a little brief overview on what's happening?
So we've got 5 matches currently announced. As we can imagine, if it follows the same tradition as their previous PLEs, it does seem to be that 5 or 6 is kind of the sweet spot for a pay-per-view nowadays. I've got a lot more to say on this, but obviously today, just to let you know, guys, we are going to keep today's one as brief as possible. With WWE pay-per-views, they tend to change things up quite a lot throughout the week, and we don't want to kind of divulge too much kind of thought process on things that may just change as the week progresses, as we know. So we will be keeping this quite short for today. But yeah, it does seem that 5 or 6 is the sweet spot that they have, and we are at 5 matches, and they are all championship matches as well, which is another.
Yeah, they are, aren't they?
Yeah, another kind of gripe I kind of have nowadays with the current thing, because there's so many championships as there is.
But did they not do United Champions or something recently, or something like that?
Don't know, no, because no, they haven't done one in ages, have they? But this is basically maybe the replacement. We've got some interesting ones though. In saying that, as we do have like an I Quit match, we have a main event where it's an interesting one, similarly to the Chamber pay-per-view, where obviously Rhea Ripley went in as a villain, but at the Chamber, as it was her hometown, she became the babyface, and she won. But it does the same thing happen now with Drew McIntyre. He is very much the villain on WWE television. But this show is in his hometown. Does he become the babyface in this de facto feud that's going on? And what should be the main event? I say should be, as obviously NXT last week, I felt that, and many people felt actually that the match between Roxanne Perez and Jordynne Grace would be that show's main event, or even the underground match, considering they were in the UFC Apex.
And
neither
they could have done something there.
Yeah, neither match ended up main eventing, but the men did for the NXT Championship. So
I've just noticed something very interesting, actually. So just quickly looking on WWE.com, they've still got, so it says Clash at the Castle, but they're still using the graphic for the Wales one, because it's all still the Wales colours. Obviously, the actual match graphics themselves have the proper one on.
That's very interesting. It'd be even more interesting, I guess, next year. If they decide to do it again, do they continue it. They find other places. They've got castles in like 100-mile radius or something.
I think
Castle London, I guess, because there is what is it? Is it Leeds Castle? Isn't it? In Kent.
Leeds Castle that's in Kent. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's a bit strange though, considering obviously that they've got they've got Edinburgh Castle, obviously.
Yes.
But for some reason, they're not doing the match in Edinburgh. They're not doing the show in Edinburgh, which is the place in Scotland with the castle.
and also the bigger city out of the two.
Capital city of Scotland. I mean, a lot of people probably think that Glasgow is, but
or Glasgow.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, Glasgow, Scotland, and Edinburgh, Scotland, as I heard it referred to today.
I mean, I can only imagine it's due to cost. I mean, Edinburgh is a very, very expensive city.
Yeah.
And I think WWE, they do just seem to go where the money is. And potentially they could be using this one as testing the waters and seeing if there is appetite. And again, look, guys, I know people obviously may be watching for different reasons, but I think obviously there's more that we can kind of divulge upon. We do have a build-up show for this event on Saturday, as obviously we like to take advantage of the fact that this is airing at a respectable time for us here in Blighty. And we'll have the live build-up. I don't know, time to be confirmed. You can check our social media page for this. But when on that show, Scott, Rob, and myself, most likely, maybe joined by a couple of guests, we will kind of divulge and go through kind of a lot of the stuff that potentially people want to hear about our opinions on, such as the incredibly expensive ticket prices, the fact that
we could literally be sitting here for hours talking about that.
Yeah, but I'm saying to people that's what we will be discussing more on Saturday, as well as obviously some of our thoughts we've had in our group chat regarding the current kind of booking formula, it seemed, that Triple H is falling into for the pay-per-view. So if you like, obviously, kind of this kind of like taster, this is a amuse-bouche kind of discussion, then join us on Saturday evening for fuller discussion and most likely a recap or instant review after the last bell. Instant reaction, there we are. I changed the name of it.
You knew that the word instant or reaction or something was in there somewhere, but
But that'll be after the pay-per-view, and again, we don't know how long it will be. Hello, Fart Night. Is that because Fortnite was taken? I want to say in '69 at the end. I mean,
unless they're Irish, Fart Night.
Might be. Is there a castle in Ireland?
I don't know, but yeah. Yeah, they just need to pick places with castles. But yeah, I mean, I'm honestly surprised though. Like, just going back to like the Edinburgh thing, even the Glasgow thing, I think where WWE kind of, I would say, messed things up a little bit is the fact that they're using a 12,000 seat venue in Glasgow when you've got obviously Hampden Park, Celtic Park, Ibrox, all with like 50, 60,000 seats. Now, I get the reasoning is obviously it's Scotland. It could pour of rain any time. Like, we are in June now and we've had about 3 seasons just today alone. Like, it's been sunny, raining, everything today. And we're in England, obviously. But then, I don't know. It's just, surely there must be some provision, like, because the literally only stadium in the UK with a roof is the Principality Stadium.
Yeah. Formula Stadium,
yeah.
It's very baffling that they don't think of these things through. I mean, even the new Wembley, lovely venue but no roof.
Well, they did. I mean, because they kind of missold it to people because they're like, oh yeah, it's got a retractable roof. Yeah, it's got a retractable roof to keep the fans keep the fans that are sitting in there. Yeah, it's like surely a retractable roof is the whole thing. Yeah. But anyway, we can get into that.
Yes, I'm checking the forecast for Glasgow, and Friday is rain and Saturday is cloudy. Sunday is also rain, so it would be interesting if they were running it this week with that weather forecast. Something tells me there'd be a lot of wet seats in the stadium if it did rain the night before. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, let's get to the meat and gravy, I guess.
Right. So now Michael Fisher's finished with the weather. We'll move on to the predictions. Where shall we start? Shall we go with? Let's go with the Intercontinental title. Sami Zayn defending against Chad Gable. Now, do you want to go first with this, or do you want me to? I can go first if you want. I don't
Yeah, you go
mind.
first. I spoke quite a lot in the intro bit.
Okay, so Sami and Chad. So Chad Gable recently has re-signed with WWE. I believe a big part of that, personally, I feel, was that they are gonna put the Intercontinental title on him. I think that Chad is going to be leaving Clash at the Castle as your new Intercontinental Champion. I think it was kind of always in the back of their minds to make Chad the IC champion, even when Gunther was still champ. So, yeah, that's my thinking behind it. And I think this whole thing with the Alpha Academy, I think it's eventually going to have Chad, the Alpha Academy turning on Chad, or the other way round, and it turned into Chad and the Creed brothers potentially, as like the new kind of team angle kind of thing. So you know how it's like the world's greatest tag team angle, that kind of stuff. I think it'll be more like that with the Creeds and Chad, rather than how it currently is with Chad, Otis, and Tozawa. So yeah, my pick: Chad Gable, new Intercontinental Champion.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke very openly on the WrestleMania stream we did that I think that they fumbled this. Obviously, you know, I thought the match between Gunther and Sami Zayn was fantastic, one of the highlights of the whole weekend. But I just think that was Gable's spot, and I think this is gonna be a bang of a match, though.
Oh yeah, 100%.
I mean, a potential match of the night. You know, I'm going to be honest. I think we'll get some stuff later on with the World Championship matches.
I think it all depends on. I think this one as well depends on card placement, because if you're having this open the show, then like I would say, how are you going to follow it? Like,
yeah,
I would not want to. I would eat any place this is on the card. I would not want to follow it. Put it that way.
It's going to be a bang or a match.
Yeah.
But I also think, like you, I think it you know, surely if Chad Gable steps aside at WrestleMania, not steps aside, you know, not he chose to step aside, I guess, but you know, if that the whole thinking, I think, was he knew that he has some leverage post WrestleMania, you know, to negotiate this kind of thing with his contract being up, you know, in June. And also, I just think the whole story, like, I don't really watch the weeklies that much, but I watch bits and pieces. But it's like the whole story with the Alpha Academy and Chad and, you know, what he's done with Sami, I think that's a really good part of the product. And I think ultimately he deserves a lot of credit for that. And he deserves a lot of credit for making Gunther's reign like massively important. You know, the match he had with Gunther on Raw, you know, the night that Gunther was breaking the record, bonkers that sounds, you know, it was fantastic. And it is long overdue for Chad Gable. Long overdue.
Yeah.
You know, I remember King of the Ring that King Corbin won. What was it, 2019? That, you know, he won by last defeating Chad Gable. Like, that was when he was ready for this push, you know, 5 years ago. So he's been ready for ages. But yeah, I think Chad Gable will be leaving as the new champion. And I think we might see a bit of dissension between Chad and Otis, potentially. But I don't know they'll pull the trigger on the big turn just yet.
Yeah.
Save that for next month or further down the line. And then, yeah, I'm with you with Chad Gable leading a new stable with the Creed brothers.
I mean, it could lead to like Chad and Otis for the title at SummerSlam potentially. That could be a way.
Yeah. I think again, Otis is very underrated.
You know, again, that is another one that will be an absolute bang. Like, something about this Intercontinental title, it's just like, to take something from Sheamus, they just put on banger after banger after banger when that Intercontinental title is on the line.
True.
So
it's true.
You know, and ironically, Sheamus, the man who says banger after banger after banger, has never won the Intercontinental title. So, you know, maybe we'll see that down the line as well. So, yeah, if you're watching Triple H, give Sheamus his Grand Slam.
Yeah, he deserves it.
Yeah. Right, so let's now move on to the second match. I'm deliberately doing these in a specific order, and you'll see why afterwards. So the next match we are going to have is an I Quit match between Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles. AJ looks really possessed in that.
Doesn't it?
He's trying to be the Undertaker or something. Looks like he's trying to roll his eyes back. But yeah, Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Undisputed title. yeah, it is just the undisputed WWE title now against AJ Styles in an I Quit match. I guess floor is yours for this one.
Now, this is an interesting one because it's almost like they paused the AJ and Cody feud, but this does feel very ad-libby. Like, obviously, AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes was a 5-star match according to Dave Meltzer at Backlash in France. It was a fantastic. I think it was a very, very good match. I don't rate these matches like that, but he, and the reception of it was very good. And one would imagine that AJ Styles, he's definitely got more days behind him than he has had more days behind him than he has ahead of him, I guess. But yeah. I think obviously there is that retirement talk, that retirement tease that is going to happen at some point. Like we are definitely counting down, and I'd like to think this is like a reward, so to speak, for him obviously doing so well, in that match, because it's very weird, very rare that they do a pause of a feud. Because obviously, AJ Styles just took a back seat for the whole month, let Cody Rhodes feud with Logan Paul, to now resume this. Though also you could argue, with the Saudi money and things coming, I think it could have just been a coincidence that's just how it's worked out. The Saudis wanted that match over this match. Now this is a hard one because, it feels like Cody's reign is only just getting started. But there is a part of me that feels like Cody might actually be better off losing the championship quite soon. The reason being is because if The Rock is going to be coming back and watch his match with Cody Rhodes, that match does not need to be for the championship. And so if they're going to do that, and the rumours are as soon as potentially SummerSlam or Survivor Series, you may as well take the belt off Cody now and have him start his long build back up to it.
It's going to be winner takes all, isn't it? People's Championship versus WWE Championship, yeah.
Because, but then obviously the problem with that is obviously, you're kind of already going to cheapen that big moment that happens. But I think the problem is that Cody losing the belt is never going to be as big a moment as Cody winning it.
Yeah.
And no matter what you do, it's always going to annoy some people. And, there are some people that could pipe up and say, well, why doesn't The Rock beat Cody Rhodes for the championship? That's a massive moment. But is The Rock going to be wrestling even more than one more time after that? Like, most likely not.
Probably WrestleMania next year against Roman, and that's probably going to be
that's
about
probably it. The guy's in his 50s, doesn't need the money.
To be honest, that might even be the thing of, if you beat, like, winner takes all. Like, if you beat me, then you'll be like the true, like, head of the table, tribal chief, and you take my career basically.
Yeah.
Like,
but I don't think any of that needs a championship.
No. Like, I think as well, that was everyone's big kind of thing for this year. It's like, if it was solely Rock and Roman, no one would have batted an eyelid. But the minute that they were going to be doing it for the championship, everyone was just like, oh.
I think we've seen this happen so many times before, haven't we? With Goldberg.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know why the part-timers will come back and instantly, like, because the thing is, if it would be like a legitimate gripe if you were there week in, week out, and then somebody just randomly comes in, having been away for years and years, even though it is one of the biggest names in the industry, and they just get a title shot. It's like, well, what have they done apart from their name? What have they done to earn a title shot?
Yeah. I mean, and hopefully that's it's a trope that hopefully people are hoping that Triple H is kind of getting out of from the company as a whole.
I mean, to be honest, if he was medically cleared, he would have been WWE champion by now.
But in saying all that, even though I think Cody may need to lose a championship, I don't think it's going to be AJ Styles. I don't think, there's no... Look, AJ has had a phenomenal career inside wrestling and will go down as one of the all-time greats. And he's also had an all-time, run in WWE. Whether... there've been some times where he has been underutilized. I get that. But I think ultimately you're looking at someone who is a Grand Slam holder and has kind of done everything he needs to do. I don't think that him losing here will have any effect on people still discussing that he's obviously had a good run here. And I don't also see anything going forward if they were to do the change with AJ Styles as champion, other than just a bounce back to Cody, which would make this silly. or yeah, I just think it would devalue the championship at this point and that important win. But I do see Cody losing the belt. It's coming. But I will go with him not losing this time, as this is kind of his kind of big championship moment, like big kind of win. Like they used to give to Cena all the time, like when he was champion, he'd have a feud and it would pay off in these kind of matches. Whether it was Night Quit or Last Man Standing or Street Fight or something like that. It's that kind of big definitive win that a babyface needs, and I think that they'll have a bang of a match. But I believe that the person who will still be the undisputed champion will be Cody Rhodes.
Yeah, I mean, I pretty much echo what you're saying. Like, I think Cody will lose the title. I think rather sooner rather than later. Like, I know Triple H seemingly is a fan of these longer title reigns, but I think Cody is better chasing. I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then like you said, I agree with you that I think Cody is still going to come out of this one as your undisputed WWE champion. So yeah, not really much more to add for that one, to be honest. That was Cody and AJ. So we're now going to get into the 3 matches that involve the Scottish participants. So that's why I'm doing it this way. So the first one we are going to go with is the triple threat tag team match, which features the tag team champions Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair defending the titles against the team of Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark and the team of Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. Almost said Kaylee Ray then, but obviously
not in a long while.
One of the longest reigning, was it WWE Women's UK champions ever?
Yeah, well, I think just in terms of women's championships, I think she's held that. No, it's up there, I guess.
Was it you that sat down that spoke with her, or Scott? It was one of you, Scott. Yes, Scott actually did an interview with her. It's back over on the Rebellious Noise page, Kaylee Ray. Well, when she was Kaylee Ray, but yeah, there's also interviews with a load of other WWE superstars there, including Scotland's own Drew McIntyre and. As she was then Doudrop, now Piper Niven and her opponent. We'll get into that in a little while. But yeah, we have got a triple threat tag team match here for the tag titles. It flips back round to me now. All right. So let's go. Pros and cons of everyone. So pros and cons. Pros for Bianca and Jade winning. They're a dominant team. It's given Jade Cargill some good reps as well, which is good. Pros for Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. It's their home country. They'll get a massive pop if they win.
Yeah.
Pretty much. Zoe Stark, Shayna Baszler, I think that if this wasn't in Scotland, I think that's what the match that they would have done. So I think that they're only putting Alba Fire and Isla Dawn in there because it's Scotland, and the reason Shayna and Zoe I feel are in there is for one of them to take the pinfall, so that if there's a title change, then Bianca or Jade don't have to get pinned, and if Bianca and Jade retain, then they don't have to pin the Scottish people. So there's not going to be that, oh boo, you pinned the hometown heroes kind of thing. But yeah, it's a tricky one because I think it is like I'm completely going to rule out Baszler and Stark from this one. So I think they're just there to take the fall, one of them. So I mean, I think it could be one of these, like you said with like the Cody thing, where they put it on Alba Fire and Isla Dawn just to then bounce it back to Bianca and Jade. So they do it for the pop. And then bounce back. Do I? You know what? I'm gonna say that. That's what I'm gonna risk it. Like, I think they're gonna have Alba and Isla win the titles, and then even if it's on like SmackDown or something, next week just have Bianca and Jade like beat them and do the whole like, oh, you never pinned us for the titles, blah blah blah. It leads to like that rematch and yada yada. So that's what I think Alba Fyre and Isla Dawn will come out as your new women's tag team champions.
Interesting. See, the hometown rule.
It was a 50-50 though, that one, to be fair, for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. The hometown rule kind of matters anymore as much to them, it seems.
Well, Vince wouldn't care, but Triple H, I think, you know.
I think sometimes the reward is the match, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think the chance to perform in front of their hometown crowd is like the reward here. Do you know what I mean? Like, do they? Because again, it just feels very soon, like for this. The only good thing is, I'm with you in thinking that if it was in Scotland, that they would just do a traditional 2-on-2, you know, with Cargill and Belair facing Stark and Baszler. Now, Baszler as well, I'm getting concerned about here because, you know, she lost in NXT Underground. She seems to lose every single match on Raw.
So do you think they'll have Zoe take the pin then?
Yeah, but even her, like, again, there might be more discussion, you know, with someone like Scott or Rob, but if you think about how high she was, you know, back at Payback last year, you know, being the kind of apprentice, like kind of accomplice to, you know, Trish Stratus in that amazing cage match that she had with Becky. And then obviously, you know, turning her back on her mentor.
And just kind of that Elimination Chamber performance as well.
Yeah.
I can't remember what year that was, but yeah, that Elimination Chamber performance was just incredible.
Yeah, you just think, how have we kind of got to a situation where like she's still not able to do bits? And part of it might be because they haven't got a women's mid-card belt, to be fair, because it feels like if you're not in a, you know, if you're not facing one of the champions,
yeah, you're gonna have to.
You have to lose everyone else.
I mean, this has been one of the things like for a number of years though in WWE. It's like, you know, what do they do with the women that are not fighting for the main title? And that was always the kind of people's main kind of concern, because obviously the men would have had the Intercontinental and US titles to fight over.
Yeah,
it's like, what is there for the women? Like, I think they could.
Tough one.
I mean, I reckon by the end of the year potentially, because I think they're trialing it seemingly with the NXT Women's North American Championship. Congratulations to Kalani Jordan, the first ever WWE Women's North American Champion. Yeah, I think they're going to see that as a tester and see if it works. Then potentially a women's Intercontinental and a women's US title. Yeah, I mean, I think it's something fans have been crying out for years, especially when like the whole women's thing, and you know, I think especially now Triple H has gone down this whole thing of like uniforming the belts as well. So like the world title and the WWE women's title, rather than this whole Raw and SmackDown red and blue stuff. I think you know, it's kind of trying to make it more like, you know, more of like an even playing field. And it's like the only distinction really is, you know, one's got the word women in, one's got the word, well, not got the word men in, but one's got the word women in and a white strap. One's got is held by a man, and it's got a black strap. So, you know, it's I think eventually though they will introduce this women's mid-card title. But yeah, sorry, back to your point of the prediction.
Yes, I'm with you in thinking that it's not going to be Baszler and Stark.
Yeah.
And that, yes, I would have felt that Bianca and Jay would have retained if it was a 2-on-2, you know, against them two. And yeah, I can see.
It's a tough one, isn't it, to kind of pick, because they could do it either way, really.
But I think because I predicted already the IC Championship changing hands, I think I'll play it safe with this one. I'm going to say that Bianca Belair and Jay Cargill will retain, most likely by pinning Zoe Stark. I mean, this is why it's annoying doing it now as well, because the SmackDown for me is a big telltale. Like, are the Scottish crowd going to really get behind their people, or they're not going to care as much? because that also for me kind of, because obviously it's hard because usually only got one hometown person that you're going in with 3 matches, so they have to understand that most likely, even though yes, there is a version that exists where all the hometown people win. There's also a version where all the hometown people lose, which is probably looking more likely in my eyes. So I would go with the Bianca Belair and Jay Cargill team retaining.
So you're going for a retention there. Let's see if we still go for a retention when Bayley defends the WWE Women's Championship against Piper Niven. See, for me, this one came out of left field, this match. I mean, I'll hand it over to you for the first prediction.
Obviously, Bayley had a match against Tiffany Stratton and Naomi, wasn't it, in Paris? I don't know what she's been doing since, really. Obviously, yeah, Scott did have a chance to talk to her. That was like Money in the Bank, believe it or not. And it's really weird. Yeah, she wanted her Mania moment. She got it, and he also spoke to back then Doudrop, now as Piper Niven.
Thankfully, thankfully they went
a live
back.
event, wasn't it, in 2021? I want to say.
Yeah, that was back at I think 2021. Well, to put it into perspective, Big E was WWE champion at the time, so that's when it would have been.
Yeah, 2021. November 2021.
Yeah. Also,
okay.
I might as well just go through them as well.
Yeah,
Drew McIntyre and Damian Priest as well.
So that was
a couple
both
of occasions. So they were in, so that's like, go back and check out all the previous interviews that we've done with a few of the people on this card and a few of the people that are not on the card as well. Oh, there is that. Hang on. There's one that we did forget, Bianca Belair. There we go.
Yes,
we did talk to Bianca Belair as well.
And she was a champion then. She's still another champion.
Yeah.
I don't think there have been many days that Bianca Belair has not held a championship since being on the main roster.
It'd be interesting to find a stat out. And also, fun fact as well, as we were previously talking about the Women's World Championship, the first interview that we did on the channel was actually with the then Women's Tag Team Champions, the Iconics. Yeah. Also, we spoke to Shayna Baszler as well. So
lots of
so
interviews people to watch.
Go back and check them out. Sorry.
We're
talking about Bayley. I thought,
we're in this, and then like Bayley, she gave a really great match against Io Sky at Mania. Fantastic triple threat match. I just feel like it's a bit of a damp squib. Sorry. Her title run so far for me, anyway. I don't know.
Yeah,
it feels that
strange.
Yeah, it feels like obviously the situation on Raw with the women is much more important than the situation on SmackDown with the women.
Yeah, and it's like they were determined to get the belt onto Bayley, but then it's like, okay, we've put the belt on her. What do we do now? It's like they're like a deer in headlights with it, and it's like, where do we kind of go from here now?
I don't see the title changing hands here, so I will go sadly 2-0 against Scotland, so that Bayley will be retaining. I think this will be an okay match.
Hang on, is that in the football or in the Clash? Sorry, Scotland.
Clash. But the Clash, my Clash score might resemble their actual score against Germany. But yeah, no, I think Piper Niven's not the person to beat Bayley. It's one of those matches, sadly. In my opinion, outside there could be an amazing angle or something they do on SmackDown or stipulation added or something. But I just see this as a TV match very much. TV title defense, it's fine. Potentially if it gets given some time. But I don't know if anyone can realistically believe that Piper Niven's going to defeat Bayley. Sadly, and that's where we're at with it, really. So I would have actually rather them I know they're trying to keep the brand split rules, but I'd have actually rather than have Valkyria facing off against Bayley, potentially, if they want to get the hometown. I know it's a bit of a stretch, but
even though she's Irish.
Well, it was a hometown in Cardiff, everyone, wasn't it?
For Drew, yeah.
True. But from Mark Andrews, who was signed, but he wasn't on the show, so
yeah.
But yeah, no, I think
Tegan Knox
we
as
may
well.
get more discussion points on Saturday, but it's not wasting time now. I just think
Yeah.
Bayley isn't losing to Piper Niven on this kind of show, so
No.
Bayley's over.
Yeah, as much as I kind of would like, as much as I'm one of these like, oh, I love the hometown pop, I don't think they're going to do it. I think Bayley's going over, and this, like, in the nicest way possible, I think it's going to be a very good in-ring match because they are both very good in-ring workers. But I just think this is more a kind of middle of SmackDown kind of match. Like, you know, with all due respect, it is like, yeah, SmackDown filler match in my opinion, rather than a women's title match on a main like WWE PLE kind of thing. I mean, I'm just going to quickly get up the SmackDown women's roster at the moment and see like who they could have had potentially. I mean, obviously the main two, I guess, would have been probably Bayley and Bianca. Or are they Raw now? I'm not sure.
I'm not too sure because of the
right. So let's go. We'll go through SmackDown. Okay, so SmackDown women, they could have had B-Fab, Bianca Belair, Blair Davenport, Candice LeRae, Chelsea Green. There you go, channeling my inner Samantha Irvin there. Elektra Lopez, Indy Hartwell, Jade Cargill, Michin, Naomi, Queen Nia Jax, obviously Piper Niven, Tegan Knox, or Tiffany Stratton.
Well, that's the other reason as well, I guess, because we know Nia Jax has got the title match at SummerSlam.
Yeah, and I think that's probably where Bayley, I reckon, may lose it to Nia Jax at SummerSlam. So I think I think this is more of that, get through this match in one piece, get out there, get into SummerSlam and have the big title match with Nia Jax for the belt there. Because obviously, I keep going to call her bloody Doudrop. Piper Niven,
name, to be fair.
So Piper Niven, I feel, will go. I don't think she's obviously going to go into this as like a bit of a heel. It's going to be weird though, the crowd, because obviously Bayley is like beloved here in the UK. But yet they've got a Scottish person in there, so it's hometown versus like the people's princess sort of thing. And I think, as I say, I think it'll be a very good, solid in-ring match. But for me, it's more of a middle of SmackDown match than probably a middle or opening PLE match for WWE. But yeah, I'm with you that it's going to be a Bayley retention in this one.
Yeah.
Right. So let's now get into the main event of the evening, which will be Damian Priest taking on Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship. So this is obviously going to be the stipulation added from Monday Night Raw is that the Judgment Day are banned from ringside.
Does that include R-Truth?
That's the Judgment Day are banned from ringside. R-Truth's not technically a part of the Judgment Day. So yeah, Judgment Day banned from ringside. Goes to me first, this one, doesn't it? Right. I guess the elephant in the room is CM Punk going to show up and cost Drew McIntyre the title? That's as blunt as we can be with it. Obviously, I reckon there will be shenanigans in this one. Obviously, Judgment Day can't get involved. So there was an interesting line from Pat McAfee on Raw. And I've been trying to will this into existence, but I don't know whether there was anything in it or whether it was just a tongue-in-cheek thing. But Pat McAfee said on Drew McIntyre's entrance, say his name and he appears. Now, we know WWE have got this thing with TNA going on, with obviously Jordan Grace coming over to NXT. Could we see CM Punk interfere, try and help Damian Priest, and someone like a Joe Hendry come out, make the save for Drew McIntyre, and help Drew McIntyre win the World Heavyweight title in front of the fans in Scotland. I mean, to be fair, the ticket prices, this could well be like his first title reign when he won it at WrestleMania. The amount of people there. Back in the empty arena days, that was something. The fact that, like, reading his book, he said that he'd won the title and then he was watching it at home with his wife with the title underneath the sofa, and then his wife presented him with the championship after the match aired on TV. That must have been a very strange time. But yeah, I mean, that's a possibility that could happen. And that would be a surprise, actually. I think there's going to be shenanigans. I think, in all honesty, because they didn't do the change last year with Drew over Roman, when everyone felt that was the time for Roman to lose it, I do think Triple H is going to pull the trigger here, and I think we are going to see Drew McIntyre leave Scotland as the World Heavyweight Champion. I mean, I don't think it's going to be without shenanigans, but yeah, I think Drew's going to emerge as champ.
Yeah, I think the problem I'd have with the Joe Hendry thing is that they'd have to kind of then make it make sense for the American viewers, because they'd kind of be thinking, well, because as I said at the start of this, Drew McIntyre's been going into it as a villain, but you're now going to basically give him a babyface moment to win the championship. That won't make sense to anyone apart from, like...
I mean, he seemed he was a bit more babyface-ish on Raw when he came out. So it's like in this feud, he's playing the babyface role. He's been coming out and he was high-fiving the fans as he came out on Raw. So obviously you've got...
them.
Well, the thing is, because Priest is obviously the villain going into it, and then Drew's always going to be cheered in his hometown. So I think they kind of have to de facto babyface Drew McIntyre for this to work.
It'd be a very interesting one, because some of that sticks out with this is CM Punk second cash-in. And obviously CM Punk's first cash-in was on Edge, a villain champion who was cocky and was up himself, and he kind of got what's coming to him, because he got that one ending of how a cash-in can happen. The cocky villain gets his comeuppance, and that allows a new championship run to begin. But his second cash-in attempt was obviously on Jeff Hardy, the universally, loved, Jeff Hardy, and he did the same thing. And he turned around and said, "Well, what was the difference? You loved me when I cashed in on one person, but then hated me for the same reason when I cashed in on like another person. They were both similar circumstances, but just obviously different people." And obviously he used that, and it's a very, very underrated feud, that Jeff Hardy and CM Punk feud from like 2009.
Was that the one where he came out and he had like all the Jeff Hardy face paint on it? During the feud. Yeah,
a brilliant feud. And again, it gets kind of brushed past, I think, because of the whole PG era. And the kind of it being obviously at that point the second championship they had. But anyway, no, I think this is interesting because it's a case of Punk now. He was the babyface when he screwed Drew at Mania. But does he now become a de facto heel if he was to screw Drew in his hometown and ruin his moment again in front of fans? Or does it bounce back and swing back the other way? Because again, with Punk being injured, you have to imagine like his first match back, fans are going to want to cheer him, aren't they?
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting situation. I think there probably is need for some sort of 24 documentary. Please, WWE, use the network, please. Like for stuff like this, like it can really help us to understand, like, the story and like what's going on with this, because it does feel a bit like there's a lot of options they've got ahead of them. Now, there's various versions in my head that I'm thinking of this, and particularly when they added the stipulation of the I Quit match to the AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes match, because I have a theory that they might try to do the best worst case scenario where Priest wins, but the match isn't main event, and Cody main events because he's got a stipulation, and then Cody wins, and that's a babyface send them out, fans so happy kind of match. And again, the precedent for this is the fact that they just built NXT up for a month with one match, and then last minute went, oh, well, Ethan Page is debuting, so he's going to get the main event. But, okay. So do we see that's worth happening? Because that match only got added like last week, didn't it?
Yes.
A couple of days ago.
Yeah.
And the stipulation. And that is kind of a way to get that thing. But the main thing here is there's nothing for Damian Priest going forward. And there never has been. It's a sad reality. He sadly will go down at the moment, as probably one of the worst world champions like ever. Like, I hate to say it. I just think there's not been anything there.
I mean, not Jack Swagger levels yet, I don't think. I think Jack Swagger was quite bad.
Yeah, but I think that he's in that. For me, he's in that discussion. I think because obviously the bar was set quite high, but immediately after WrestleMania, when he cashed in, the collective fan base just went, "But why? What's next?" That there's no, as much as like he's not a bad worker, there was no like, "Oh, I can't wait to see Priest versus X person." There was none of that, and there is for every single time someone else wins a championship. There is always this kind of like, even if AJ Styles wins, you're like, we can see AJ Styles, maybe Cena will come back and we'll see AJ and Cena again, or you know what I mean. But the Damian Priest is like literally nothing. There was like no matches that anyone wanted to see of these. I guess maybe Damian and Finn, I guess that's what they felt they were maybe teasing towards. But yeah, on the basis of there being nothing for Damian Priest and more for Drew McIntyre, then I think I've talked myself into Drew McIntyre ending the curse of the Scots on this show for me, for my predictions, and leaving with the World Heavyweight Championship. I mean, there is an option, I guess, where he could win and Punk attacks him afterwards. I don't see Punk not being involved with this. It doesn't make any sense how they've been going, though.
Yeah, I don't know. It's one of them. I mean, I think where they've been quite smart is they've not really mentioned him too much, and they've not had him involved in the last couple of weeks. So they've deliberately kept a bit quiet on CM Punk. So it's probably
maybe that's deliberate, I guess.
It's either a case. Yeah, I think it's either a case of they're doing it because it's not happening, or they're going to do it because that's happening, and they just want people to kind of think, oh, it's not going to happen. But then I think the fact that obviously they've had to ban the Judgment Day from ringside is now making me think
someone's got to come out.
Punk will get involved. And then I think if Punk gets involved, then it's then going to be because I think if Punk's fit, it's Punk and McIntyre at SummerSlam.
Or do they do? There is a way.
Unless Seth, Seth's injured, isn't he? So
yeah. There's a way I think that Punk is to a babyface here is if Judgment Day are banned from ringside means one or two things. That one of Judgment Day are going to come to ringside at some point, or someone else will come to. But with the way to actually booking as well, it might be both.
I mean, the only other way is Carlito. I mean, is he technically not a member of Judgment Day?
Oh yeah, he's not, is he? Yeah,
he's with Judgment Day, helping Judgment Day.
He's not a member.
I don't know if he's a full member of Judgment. I mean, I've not seen his name on a T-shirt yet, so it's not an official.
He's not a member. And I mean, even if they wanted to, they could extend that to Rhea, where she is obviously still part of Judgment Day, but she's not at the moment part of Judgment Day. It's been enough time for them to be like, well,
Liv Morgan, isn't it? She'll come out and.
But sorry, what I was getting at is, could there be a ref bump situation happen? Judgment Day then obviously come to the ring because obviously they don't realise the event's being streamed on the network. No wrestler realises that, do they? When they cheat and do something, you're being streamed by a wide, mate. But anyway, the Judgment Day try to come out, and Punk comes out to fend off the Judgment Day. Yeah, defend the Judgment Day to get his hands onto Drew, but it backfires. Drew wins, and then Punk's still the babyface because he hasn't actually attacked the homegrown hero.
Yeah, because unless he does it inadvertent, like he goes to hit Drew maybe, but then
he goes to hit Drew ducks or something.
Yeah, and he hits Priest. Maybe like a belt shot
or does their beloved thing they love doing when the person throws the belt in the middle of the two wrestlers, and it's like, did he throw it to Drew or did he throw it to Damian? Like in the middle of the ring kind of thing, and then
as long as they're not doing the Becky Charlotte thing where it's just like, yeah, there you go, just chuck it over there, go pick it up.
But yeah, I mean, I'm sure there's infinite possibilities for this, and some of
Yeah.
our questions regarding Punk may or may not be answered as the week goes on. As you know, which will be recapped of guys, we are going to wrap up very shortly. This is meant to be a briefer thing, turned into an hour almost, but we are going to be back on Saturday. Most likely, Rob, Scott, and myself, and potentially some guests. We never know, for the live build-up shows. On this show, Scott and Rob will have to give their predictions, as well as there'll be a further predictions if anything was to change or be added. And we'll straight after the show have an instant reaction of the show. So that will be featuring our thoughts and views on potentially what could be a very, very good show. You know, all things considered, to be fair.
You might have to dig your ref shirt out, mate, if them two are going to be doing predictions.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think obviously there's always some heated discussion going on that, but that's obviously a more kind of deeper depth, and we'll probably, like I said, talk about ticket prices. Obviously, people have, if you're going to the event, or you know people are going to the event, you know.
Then where are you getting your bloody money from? Because I want the same job as that.
I guess they're probably hiding from the tax man, aren't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, no,
those credit cards have taken a pounding.
And yeah, I don't think you can watch this obviously on demand. And we have a plethora of content on this channel and our other channel, featuring interviews, exclusives, predictions, all our episodes now available as well on Spotify and Apple Music, and much more. So yeah, if you
all the good podcast channels and even the rubbish ones, you can find us.
Yeah, but yeah, I think that's about it for now. Like I'm excited for the show. I think it's another good one having this international pay per view. I mean, what time did it start for us? Like 8 o'clock?
I guess yes, at 7, 8 o'clock, something like that. So reasonable time. Probably around this sort of time. I mean, what are we at now? We're at nearly 8 o'clock. So yeah, probably people will just be getting in the 5th pint of Tennent's or the Iron Brew, bit of haggis and deep fried Mars bars and whatever they're going to be selling in the OVO Hydro Arena Center building.
Just earlier, by the way, we spoke about Kaylee Ray. So her women's NXT UK Women's Championship run, title reign, it is the longest reign for a women's champion in WWE's history. It was 649 days. So that obviously beats the year-long runs of Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair in recent years, as well as Asuka's 500-odd day NXT Women's Championship reign. So yeah, like she's got props to herself. Do you know what I mean? Like Kaylee Ray, but
I think you could say she maybe carried the NXT UK Women's division.
Yeah,
just a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it didn't last very long. Let's be real.
Obviously, Rhea Ripley as well, former NXT UK Women's Champion as well.
Yeah, she was, and then I mean, looking back, they only actually had four champions.
So hang on, let me try and guess. So was it Toni Storm, the other one?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah,
and then Mandy Rose won it to unify the NXT and NXT UK Women's titles.
But they don't seem to count that as.
So they're not. And then was it Mako Satomura?
Yeah, the old Japanese.
You can't say that.
The old Japanese wrestler. Didn't we finish? The old Japanese wrestler. She's still signed, isn't she? But she hasn't appeared for ages.
I think so. I'm not sure. She's like the Kendo Nagasaki of WWE, pretty much.
It's mad that she debuted in 1995, so she's like a 30-year veteran almost.
Yeah.
But she last appeared on NXT, I think. Yeah, she hasn't appeared since Worlds Collide. Oh, sorry, no, NXT Roadblock. And she lost to Sam Perez, NXT Roadblock, in March 2023. But she's still signed to the company. It's very, very, very odd. Yeah, I mean, if anyone knows where she is, please let us know. Maybe, I guess she could be one of the people helping them set up, obviously, NXT Japan. The rumor.
I thought you were going to say setting up. I thought you were going to say setting up the ring before the show.
She's now been demoted to ring crew.
She's just going
very soon.
Yeah, she's just gonna be going and fetching the teas and coffees. And,
But yeah, on that note,
I think before we end up getting the show cancelled, right? Let's. But yeah, yes, obviously, Meiko Sakamura joined the list along with Kaylee Ray, Rhea Ripley, Tony Storm. I guess you could, and Mandy Rose as NXT UK Women's Champions.
Yeah, Mandy Rose held the belt, but they don't recognise the ranking, I guess. She helped, she walked. Yeah.
She was the one who wanted to basically unify it with the NXT Women's Championship now. So, yeah. Right. So I think on that note, that is pretty much everything for this episode of the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. This was the preview and prediction show for Clash at the Castle, Glasgow, Scotland.
Yep.
So, yeah. Oh, we got a message here on YouTube. Heart Attack 35 says hi. So, hi, Heart Attack 35. And hi and bye, I guess, because we have just finished up. But if you go back, you can watch the show on demand. So, yeah, that is everything from myself and Lucas. We will be back, or Lucas will be back most likely with Rob and Scott on Saturday with the live build-up to Clash at the Castle, Scotland. So that is everything from us, guys. Take care. We will see you on Saturday. Take care. Ta-da for now. Welcome to the Rebellious Noise Pro Wrestling channel. On this channel, we bring you some great content from inside and outside of the squared circle. We will go through and offer some in-depth analysis of the biggest events of the year, as well as bringing you exclusive interviews with some of the industry's biggest names. There will also be live show reviews, in-depth features, and podcasts. So make sure you give that subscribe button a slam so you don't miss any of the action.